Yeah, it's Andy from Morning Strategy here today to talk about this CODA build, personalized lead magnet. It's the front end of your funnel. It's going to generate you leads, deliver your potential clients a report that's like chock full of kind of personalized value. And you don't have to do a thing. You don't have to write it. All you have to do is like leverage the IP, the knowledge resources that you probably already have. Um, so I'm going to walk through this doc, how it's built, and we're going to take a look at the example that I'm using it for, which is this AI pulse check. So here's an example. I just did a test run, and you can see the sort of quality. So it's pulling out information from a survey that clients have filled out or leads have filled out, providing them a readiness score based on a set of really kind of high quality benchmarking studies, McKinsey, BCG, PwC, that kind of thing, and comparing them globally across other teams, and then giving them really strong sort of opportunities for next steps. And then, of course, it's got my own information in there, reach out to me, and links to the reports at the end. So, and all this is just included in an email. I broke it out as a PDF, but just an email people get. So, incredibly easy to put together. It takes about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours to like customize this to your needs. So, if you want to do that, reach out. Happy to set something up for you. Otherwise, this template is going to be in the CODA Guild and all the links down below to check that out. Now, I did detail sort of how the build works in the Substack post, and I'll put that link in the description. But I want to go through it in a little bit more detail here, and of course, visual always helps. Um, the base kind of workflow is we're going to set up the survey, we're going to load in all of that backend knowledge of yours, in this case, mine. Actually, it's not even mine. It's just like reports from the internet. Then we're going to customize these personas, and this is really cool. Gives a user the ability to choose um, how they want to receive the report. So you can see down here in my survey, it's like which one of these kind of avatars do we want to um, have write our reports. So it's like you can choose your author, choose the tone that you want. I like this kind of salty dog. It's like kind of witty, dark humor sort of thing. But I've noticed a lot of people so far have been choosing explain like I'm five, just because it's just such a clean, easy explanation for things. So after you customize avatars, you can set up your prompts, and this is to send all the information that you've received over to OpenAI to do this sort of drafting. You're going to create the email copy and then connect our accounts. All right. First one, survey questions. So I've got my test kind of pulled up here. This was a test response I did. And yes, the form is here, just a standard CODA form. Really, the trick with these sorts of lead gen kind of surveys is you just don't want to make them too long, and make sure that the information is relevant to what you're sort of promising to deliver. Don't ask a whole bunch of questions about like their marital status if you're going to give them a tool about their tech stack or a report about their tech stack, right? It's the kind of thing that people will hop off as soon as they hit those like darker, deeper questions. And in this case, it's mostly select lists, just like really easy for people to be able to add an other option if they need to, but otherwise to select and not have to think too hard about this. All of those questions you can see are set up in this table. There's really only one main table that has the survey, and all of the processes sort of like follow along in order, but you can see here that these are the questions, and they all look up to these separate tables down here. So for example, this AI use by function, when someone selects, it's got a reverse lookup, so it's automatically adding the response. And then we get the ability to do this kind of robust dashboarding where now I can see everybody's responses, right? And this is pretty cool where it's like, where do people see the most potential for themselves? And it's like repetitive work. Like, that's great for me. That means maybe I should focus more of my um, marketing, and my content, my offerings on AI automation. Right. Okay. Blah 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 form standard. You just set that up for whatever it is, whatever questions you want to ask. Next is studies and stats. So in my case, I took these kind of really well written, established benchmarking studies, and I just use AI to pull out all of the statistics. And what that does is let me take the information I'm collecting and compare it against global studies. So it's just perfect for kind of benchmarking. But I mean, these could be your own reports, could be kind of whatever you want. It's really like what knowledge goes into the um, report that you're delivering to the client. Is it a book, a framework? Is it, some sort of decision-making criteria that you've developed? Doesn't matter, but this is kind of where it goes, and we need to get it into some sort of format. Like a page can just be a page of text like this, or you can put it into a table format, just something that we can feed into the AI later on. Here are those avatars. I wanted to keep it pretty simple. There's really like four of them. I kind of like the coach sometimes because it's just full of sports metaphors. Um, Kind of ridiculous, but you get the point. It's just a little thing to personalize it for people so that they feel like they've had some kind of agency over the creation of the report. Step four is the prompts. Okay, and actually, I'm going to jump over to the back end now to show how this actually works. So scrolling through, you can see these are the survey questions. I've got a couple of summaries that I'm going to use for my prompts. Here's the benchmarking studies. And now we're into to doing the actual work. This button here actually pushes all the other buttons down the line. We'll talk about that in a minute. But every one of my prompts and calls to OpenAI follow this sort of three-stage pattern. The first is you define a prompt with a compose column. Second is you create a button, and that's a modify rows action. And the row you're modifying is this row, the column is this result. And all you're doing is asking OpenAI to perform some action and push the result into this column. So prompt can be anything you like. I really recommend working with the kind of um, AI, the LLM of your choice, the chatbot of that you favor, and go back and forth to find good ways to prompt for what you're looking for. And it's going to take a little bit of iteration. You can see I've given it some initial direction on what its job is. Here are all of the inputs, and these are just columns, calling up columns from this same table. So the summary of the person's responses, and then these benchmarking studies. And then I'm going to define what I want from it in terms of its output and some formatting requirements. And that's pretty much it. So then the data analysis button, very simple. It's just a modify row. What are we modifying? Well, the AI data analysis column, and this is my custom pack, just calling to ChatGPT and asking for the response, which then gets pushed into this column. So when you come in to this template, there's two prompts to update. This kind of does things in two different parts. The first one is a data analysis piece where I'm directing well, you can see I'm directing the AI to take a close look at the relationship between the backend sort of benchmarking data, so that's your knowledge store, and the responses that the user has given. And then that's more like an analytics report. And then the second operation is a second call to OpenAI to generate the actual report using whatever the data analyst has prepared. So that's pretty much it. Here's where you kind of define what you want the report to look like. And if you had a template, this is where I'd put that in and just reference it in another page and say, make the output look like this template. Okay, the next step is to modify, this is again a compose column, the body of the email you're going to send. So I put a bunch of front matter and then the report down below, and you can see the way this works is the report shows up at the bottom, and all I'm doing again with the compose column is saying stick the report in right at the bottom. All these hyperlinks and everything, I'll direct people to my website, places I want them to go, things that I'm asking them to do. Um, so yeah, customize the subject, put in who or where you want it to come from, and then customize the body of the email. And then just make sure, right clicking on each of these buttons that the account is your account here. It'll say add account. You just have to click it and add your OpenAI account in that case, and the Gmail one here, making sure that it's coming from your Gmail account. And then you should be good to go. And so how this whole thing works is, I mentioned this one large button here, prep and send report. The reason this is disabled is because I've already sent the email for this, so it's disabled on the results column from the email. So after the email sends it, it sends back a results ID, and once that's there, I gray out that button just so nobody can accidentally hit it again. All this does is say first get the data analysis, then generate the report. I was having a problem where I was getting a bad gateway error, which is really just like a timeout error um, from OpenAI. And so I've just put a hacky kind of loop in here to say if it comes back bad gateway, then just do it again, do it again, do it again. And if it has come back with the proper report and doesn't say bad gateway, then there's no action, no action, no action is triggered, right? So it won't do anything. Then after that, we're going to send the email, and we do a couple of other little things. We get a summary of the organization pulled from the web, which is pretty cool. And then from that, we're trying to figure out their industry. Um, and all of that is happening based off of a single automation. Right, I made a notification, but instead I just BCC'd myself on the email, and then I don't have to worry about notifying myself. Right, then I get a copy of the email sent to me anytime someone fills this out. The primary automation says when we receive a form response, there is a step in here to stop people from doing um, submitting twice, and it's let me see if I can get over there. This email has been used. So if the person has submitted twice, then this box gets checked, and the second time it's not going to be able to pass this if statement. So you won't be like sending the same report to the same person 5 different times. But yeah, then all it's doing is just hitting that one button. Right. So it's just a nice clean way. Submission comes in, we click the single button, and that single button clicks all of the other buttons we have. And the great thing about the way this pack works is it, when you say get data analysis, which is the first click in this like multi-action button, it waits until it receives the response before it clicks the next button. So um, you don't have to worry about adding delays or anything. It just like manages all of that good stuff itself. So I won't say too much more. Here's what it looks like Again, there's my email front matter, and then the report comes at the other end. Looks pretty good. Again, people are given this like really uh, granular analysis of where they're at relative to the benchmarking studies. Then they're giving some opportunities to move move into like better team alignment around AI, and they can book a call. That's pretty cool. It's just like pushing the hyperlink to my calendar directly to them. And yeah, then it's also providing the links to the report right in there. So that's it. We, of course, get all of this lovely data and next steps. I think for me, in like a version 2, would be something like including like benchmarking against the data that I receive in this study. So I need to get up to about like 50, 100 responses, I think, before I start saying, you're in the kind of 90% of people who are trying to use AI for like operations service delivery right now. It's just like a better way to make use of the primary data. Um, Also, it's like obviously this is its own content now where I start to gather this sort of firsthand primary data on um, AI adoption across kind of Atlantic Canada, across the Canadian tech sector. So, yeah, lots of opportunities to build this thing out after the fact. Of course, you're getting people's email addresses, so you can sync it with your CRM and you can create and automate task creation off of this stuff. So if you could imagine pretty easily doing a ranking or prioritization exercise um, where people's responses are prioritized based on, let's say, their maturity stage. So if people say they're not using AI yet at all, maybe that gets a higher weighting, and then you can start prioritizing who you respond to. You can start crafting emails based on the information they give, where you get to see really specific details about how the person is, in this case, using AI, but in your case, using whatever it is that you do. So that's all. Reach out. Link will be in the comments or in the description. And yeah, building these things for a couple people right now, and really excited to see how people put it to use. And that's it. Take care, everybody. See ya.